Hello, Dave.
Hello, Ian.
We have tricked yet another person into joining us via Zoom.
2 people.
It looks like.
Yeah.
Stef Schrader, who everybody knows and loves from the internet and cars.
Yeah.
Close. That's a bit too much.
Chief moderator of the Puffalump forum.
Oh, yes. Yes. Returned me to the Puffalump forums from which I came.
Puffalump and PARSH purveyor extraordinaire, Stef.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But we wanted to...
Don't touch your face, Ian.
Check in with you and talk to you about how things were going. And the big news was the opposite lock finally met its maker. And we wanted to ask you about what is next with that, and also just kind of talk about what it represented to you while it was a thing.
Wow. Yeah. Heavy stuff.
It's a zany car show. Sometimes we don't do that.
Real quick. So we have kind of like a safe word on the show now that we just developed in the last 2 episodes. Yes. If things start to get down, what we do is I have a picture of a car that we show, and it makes us happy. All right. I want to see if it has the same impact on you.
It works for me.
Right. Exactly.
Just grab all the Hot Wheels off my desk. Taken over by Hot Wheels, but
that's the appropriate place for them.
The appropriate place.
Yes, but should you ever need it through this heavy discussion, we'll show you this picture of this Gulf liveried Fiat Abarth.
Abarth. Oh, that's beautiful.
Right? Yeah. Stuff gets bad. Just be happy. This is out here on the roads in Colorado somewhere. We don't know who this is, right? But it's doing the little Barth burble down the street, right? Mm-hmm. It's a happy place like that you can go to, right?
Well, my first 944, it was white when I got it, and so I really wanted to have a color, so I took Theo Bunny into Lowe's, like the nearest paint place by the track, and was like, can you color match this?
I like that you point right to its butt too, right? Yeah.
It was basically like, I can make it obviously it's the Porsche lump, or it was alternately the Puffa chump, because its first race was a chump car race.
I like that.
And Porsche lump stuck. But it's obviously got to have a puff lump theme. The first Lemons car I raced was a Type 3 that was painted up and, done up to look like my puff lump fluffy bunny eater of souls. It was a big lilac bunny. So I was like, okay, it's this bunny's turn.
Right. Okay.
And, that was the thing. So my first Porsche matches this car. Nice.
Right on. We were talking a little bit before the show. Is there anything that you could put the Gulf livery on that it would look bad or that it wouldn't work? I mean, like, I'm no fan of the Nissan Rogue, but I like a Gulf liveried Nissan Rogue more than I like a Rogue.
Yeah, like it would improve even like an Altima, which is basically the Great Satan car form.
Right.
My bathroom in my little half of the duplex that I live in, one of the major selling points was it was that blue.
Okay.
This is meant to be.
Yeah. Serendipitous.
And the bathroom matches my first car.
Nice. It's nice.
Is that one of those situations where you're interacting with like a normal, like non-car enthusiast, and you're like, you walk into the bathroom and you're like, Gulf livery blue, and they're like, what?
Did you just have a stroke?
I didn't put it that way, but the landlord knows what I do.
Okay.
I find this out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta look at this. I gotta look at this place. It's perfect. It's in my price range. It's in a nice neighborhood. It's got a carport and a shed, and it's cute. It's big enough to hold all my crap. So I, call him up, did a little tour of the house, and I was just like, well, here's the card with all my contact information. If you need to get a hold of me, I'm definitely interested. Let me know when. Drop everything and get over here. Because I was basically like, it's Austin. Housing is interesting. So it's basically kind of, I knew my place was going to go up, shoot up in rent. It shot up like $300 in 5 years or something stupid. It was ridiculous. This one hasn't raised my rent yet. So I'm probably jinxing myself. But yeah, I was just like tired of that place. It didn't have central air, which in Texas is
Yeah.
it was just like, I'm not fresh out of college anymore. I need a nicer place. And so just hot pads, I think, is where it was on. But I would just kind of periodically do the tour of house websites until I found this one came up, and like immediately it's like, you're one of the first few people to call.
You're
like, here you go. It's like, oh, I know you. Oh gosh. So you'll understand when I rebuild a Volkswagen engine in the corner of my living room.
There you go. Right? Your Zillow activity that you tweet about is fantastic. So my wife is like a hardcore Zillow addict. Like, yeah, she's like always be looking for houses, right? Yeah. Like I'm Craigslist looking for sob parts, and she's Zillow for houses. Yeah. It's like just crushing it. So I love the Zillow posts that you make. Yeah. When you find interesting houses. Yeah. I'm very much a mid-century modern fan. Like that is my aesthetic, right? So like the stuff that you put up is right along the line. Yeah. So I dig that. So you can Gulf livery an Abarth. You can Gulf livery a puffalump. A bathroom, right? Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Medium hot orange towels is great.
Yes. There you go. I love it. That's awesome. So if we get too heavy with anything, you just say Gulf Abarth, and that comes back on the screen. And it's okay. I've had it a few times because Dave has shown me some very upsetting license plates. Yeah.
That
I
just got too angry about, and he had to put that up and calm me down.
Yeah.
What were the license plates?
Oh man, what's one of the most upsetting recent ones we saw? Somebody with a Camaro that had a license plate that said EYEN 18, EYEN 18. Like, dude, like toxic masculinity in an image.
And it was like a ZL1, like with the big wing and the whole thing. It was really strange.
Yeah.
So like not someone who's 18 years old.
Yes.
Not driving that car.
But then like every now and then you see something like this, like a Corvette convertible that says ham.
Yeah.
That's delightful.
Right. And then didn't we get word of somebody else that had a plate that said beef?
Yeah, after we had this on the show, and somebody sent us a picture of someone who had one that said beef.
Yeah.
Beef.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, but you had have a vanity plate for the PARSH 944, right?
It says PARSH.
See? Okay. All right. So
SH. And it is the Texas Porsche Club of America vanity plate, design. So
okay.
Beautiful.
I think it's really hard to do a vanity plate where it's like where it is yes, right? And I think PARSH is nailing it in the vanity plate realm. Yeah.
I couldn't figure out anything good for the Lancer, so
right.
It's just, a pretty space shuttle. I got the space shuttle theme, the Columbia Remembrance. It goes towards like an aerospace fund.
Oh, okay.
So I couldn't figure out anything clever to say that would be appropriate in that situation.
Sure.
But it was really a cool plate, so I wanted that on there, and it just has a random combination of letters and numbers.
It's hard to do a vanity plate where it's like where people will get it just enough, where like we've all seen the dumb Tesla ones where they're like making fun of oil and like, yeah, like just there's enough of that out there. So
I was like, the traumatic plate has to be a bad Tesla dad joke. It has to be. That has to be like the worst. And then you somehow came up with something even grosser.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I don't usually get angry with those. That's more just like, ugh, whatever. But
right.
Sometimes when people are or even like blessed, that one drives me nuts too.
Yeah. Mindful on a Toyota Camry. Yeah.
Oh, that's, I don't know. That's a kind of particular corniness that I have made peace with.
Yeah.
The mindful, whatever.
Yeah. What was, you saw a van, Ian, that was brown and the vanity plate said shit brown. It was like,
yes.
Yeah.
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 I think it just said brown.
Yeah. Or it brown. It brown.
It brown.
Yeah.
It brown. That's what it was.
Just enough to get past the DMV sensors, right?
It brown.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Right.
That's my favorite one I've ever seen. For sure.
Yeah. So besides being the person that strapped the most stuffed animals to a car, period, and put the most stuffed animals in cars, right? Because recently it was in a freaking Rolls Royce, right? Yeah. You tell us about that. That's rad as hell.
I enjoyed it a lot. I got to test drive the new Rolls Royce Ghost, and because you have luxury cars that try to be pet gadgets, they try to be sports cars, they try to be all of these other things, and try to kind of do everything at once really well. And the Rolls just really focused on comfort.
Okay.
Niceness. And like kind of this luxurious comfort. I'm just going to say comfort.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. It reminded me of kind of the older Cadillacs and Oldsmobiles and things like that.
Right.
Except turned up to like, not just 11, but like 90 billion.
Right.
Because it was so well done. It was such a smooth car to drive. And like, they had just obsessed over every aspect. And what's interesting about those guys is they're not thinking about, well, we're going to do a mid-cycle refresh here. We're going to do this. They're thinking like, well, the last one was around for 10 years. We've had cars that were on sale for 15 years. It's just all of this like, very customizable, you want this, here's kind of our blank slate. It's going to be around for at least a decade. We have to design a car with that in mind.
Okay.
And so one of the things I felt very vindicated by was there were buttons for the radio and the HVAC.
Instead of touchscreen stuff, huh?
Physical buttons.
Nice.
And, I even mentioned this in my review. I'm like, I will die on this design hill of you have to have something that you can just kind of reach over and smack and get physical feedback.
Yeah.
With I have pressed a button.
Right.
Or I have turned a knob or whatever without taking your eyes off the road.
Right.
No muscle memory, general direction. It's a lot harder to do that with a screen. It's a lot harder because, especially if something is buried in,
yeah.
And so I felt very vindicated that here's a car that is designed to stand up to whatever the next decade may bring. And a lot of the key features were in buttons.
I love it. Yeah, that's fantastic. It makes me think of the mute button in the Chrysler Pacifica. Like you just want to yell at the kids over like Kids Bop 75 that you're playing the stereo. It just has a big mute button, like, I will turn this car around, like that. Yeah, that kind of stuff, like muscle memory, one button, boom, right? And it's so awesome that like at a car at the Rolls level, that's where their head's at, right? That's amazing.
Well, the other thing that was interesting, it feels like the only time I felt safe doing a press drive, because they were testing everybody on arrival and
okay, yeah,
like that. I'm just like, wow, this is the last press drive I'll be able to do, and it was local too, so it was. I didn't have to get on a plane. I didn't have to worry about sitting next to someone or encountering somebody because it's not just you're in proximity to, it's you're in proximity to probably the least risk averse.
Okay.
So right. I'm just like, I'm not gonna travel by plane or anything like that for a while.
Yeah.
This one was local. They were testing on arrival and everything. And it's and they were able to kind of Skype in some of the design staff.
Oh, awesome.
What was interesting was they were talking about kind of this approach to tech and why it's not just like, because, you're paying $300,000, $400,000 plus for a car and, optioning it out to the nines, you can get away with anything you want to.
Right.
What was really, really interesting was like, we just want things to work. People are paying this much for a car. We could load it down with gadgets. We could load it down with like the pinnacle of technology, blah, blah, blah. We're at that point where we can get away with literally anything. But we just want things to work. We don't want to have anything that people are going to come back and be confused and have to have a dealer explain. We don't want to have any functions that you have to like thumb through a manual to figure out. We don't want to have anything break on people because it's just kind of, released too early or whatever. They just want people to have a car that works. You don't pay as much for a car. It must work. And I kind of appreciated that. That was really refreshing compared to everybody else trying to pass off a gadget as a car.
Yeah.
Well, it fits too with what you were talking about with how it drives too, of like it's making you not worry about things, right? And I mean there is like that own little piece of anxiety of like, how do I navigate this menu,
right?
And
with a button there isn't, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like any other modern car. There's a lot of different features where they did have a screen with things and
sure.
An obvious iDrive knob. But those things have been out so long that I was just like, this layout, this menu, it's nothing we haven't seen before.
Gotcha.
And I think that was kind of what they were going for in a really refreshing way.
Hey, I think that's one thing Lexus consistently misses with their cars. Like, because the Target demo, right? Like all the little mouse thing, and like it's so like it in a car that could certainly use some simplicity, right? Yeah, mine's a 2008, so it just has big like giant things that you have to hit on the touch screen like from the back seat, like bam, then it finally registers. But yeah,
classy grandma car, and then they try to put a bunch of stuff in it that's just half baked,
right? When they're never going to dip into like 98% of it, right? It's like me with Adobe Illustrator. I know how to make a couple lines and that's it. Like, I'm sorry, we haven't worked our way up to layer masks yet. Okay. Yeah.
Photoshop for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting that somebody is actually doing that right. Like that's, yeah. And how do you go about selecting the puffalump that will be in the Rolls Royce? Like, right.
And also, I was wondering if the selection of the German themed one was like, if anyone there was if they felt that dig at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, we know it's a BMW.
She didn't bring the British puffalump,
Right.
the one with haggis in its hand.
Yeah, Theo is the one that has the little bunny lederhosen.
Okay.
Put on the hood of the Porsche when it goes through inspections at Lemons weekends. So I was like, all right, Theo's got to come. And then the little white bunny, I was just like, you're cute. You're coming. And so it's very seat of the pants. Sometimes for events and things, or like there will be seasonal puffalumps.
Okay.
Easter puffalumps. There were a lot of Easter puffalumps. There were a lot of course, Theo technically is an Easter bunny. So
gotcha.
Me, but he's not obviously an Easter bunny. I have some puffalumps that are carrying like eggs and things like that.
Sure.
Sometimes it's just, if it's Christmas, I'll bring out the Christmas mice. If it's a certain place, like I brought a pink pig to the Porsche Museum once, because I have Floyd's a pig.
Yeah.
I brought a puffalump alligator to the Florida Man Poker Run Lemons Rally.
That is very appropriate.
Very appropriate.
Did you stuff it with bath salts before you left, or did you get them there?
But we did. My team did find a bucket of.
Yes.
Like the ones that you put in an actual bath.
Right.
Wax in, as opposed to whatever you do on bath salts.
Right. Right.
Universal alligators is what you're doing.
Yeah.
I want to find out.
Yeah. Right.
No, you don't.
That is so awesome that you have access to the Rolls, that you were able to experience that. That is that's a bucket list experience, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm so happy for you.
That is, as I stare at the Isetta on my desk, I'm like, man, that's staring me down. It's feeling bad for the phrase. It's like if I won the lottery, inherited a bunch of money, whatever, I feel like that would be the dumb purchase. I think I'd want to get one dumb car and just kind of get it out of my system. Like, all right, I bought something. I bought a dumb road car.
Right.
I'm going to blow the rest of this trying to keep a 944 race car alive.
Yes.
Maybe you can get a spec 944 and get fancy driver for a fast car. So, just buy a slightly nicer 944 race car and fix all my other hoopties.
I was going to say the 944 race car and the Rolls Royce is that is the opposite end of the spectrum.
Ian, if I won the lottery, I would buy the nicest Saab Viggen from 1999. Yeah.
Right. So if you won like $100 million, you would buy the nicest Saab Viggen, and then you would only have $999,940.
But do you need something more than a Saab Viggen?
Right. Thank you.
Not if you like Saab Viggens.
Right. See, Ian? You'd go out and buy
I like the Viggen. I'm just teasing you.
You'd go out and buy the least broken Volkswagen R32 from 2004.
No, what I would do is, He would.
Steph, he's lying. He would.
I already have one.
The least broken one, Ian. You don't have the least broken one.
That's true. I don't.
Obscure air cooled. But that wouldn't be like a stupid car, because you can pick up an Isetta for like $50K.
Right.
I'm thinking like the one stupid car. Like people are like, I'm going to buy a McLaren. Even a Porsche kind of isn't a stupid car unless you're just completely insane.
Yeah.
I'd buy like a used Cayenne and a Ghost.
I do like your Cayenne affinity, and also I want you to know that you have had a contagious effect upon me. Where when I see a Porsche that I like, I say that's a good PARSH, like, out loud to myself. Well, I'll drive by something and be like, that's a good PARSH. Yeah.
That's good. Gosh darn it.
Yeah. Right.
Really good PARSH.
Yeah. Oh, so thank you for giving that to the world. Yeah.
I sure as heck like them big gosh darn PARSH. Love my PARSH.
Yeah, as you should. So talk us through like the state of repairs of your 944. Like, hang on. Let me get the Gulf of Barth. Hang on, it's right here. Okay, Gulf of Barth. Okay.
That's just gonna remind me of the first 944 we totaled.
Oh crap! I need a safe word for the safe word.
It's going off the rails. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So. I bought it out of the comment section. Somebody was starting to race car eyes a 944.
Sure.
Interior, it's just kind of a little much. They wanted to pass along to someone who would use it. They found my very first article for Jalopnik's front page.
Okay.
On the worst chump car weekend ever, because we had a... I rushed to get it. I bought a car that was chump car legal when, we were just kind of going to fix it up, throw some extra weight out. And apparently we probably should have left there was about 40 pounds in the back that made it much less tail happy. They had put this like big 40-pound gym weight in the very, very back in the wheel well for the spare.
Okay.
And we were like, this is dumb. Why is this back here? And turns out it was compensating for both a worn as heck suspension that was very floppy and no weight of the rear hatch. That's the word.
Yeah, because that's off. Yeah. Okay.
And which I think is like 80 pounds or something ridiculous.
They're really heavy. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Single piece of glass. It's,
Yeah.
great, but it's a lot of weight up top.
Right. No weight in the back is fine on a front wheel drive car. Right.
On a rear wheel drive car.
Right.
Without the engine weighing on it. It is, ideally that 50-50 weight distribution. So you have engine, transaxle, and, glass hatch. But if you're just like, well, we're going to strip this out, let's get rid of the heater core and all the stuff that's not hooked up, and let's get rid of this weight that's in the back, because it came with no glass hatch. And sorry, I just ate a lot of pie. And so I sent out the most experienced driver at Texas World Speedway, and first hour of its first race, it spins. We had still been rushing to get it ready on the first day, my first ever time throwing my own car in a race. And I should have waited till another one. I should have waited until we had some practice time in this specific car and then been like, all right, it's sorted. Let's put it in a race. But I stubbornly was like, let's do this. Yeah. Fun. And it got T-bone. It was a big blue banana. So that is the story of my first 944. And I forgot what we were talking about.
Your current 944.
Current 944.
Yes. Yeah.
So that story went live as my first ever front page article on Jalopnik. as far as things that weren't shared from opposite lock goes. And I bought it off another commenter. We got it running, and it's been racing for 5 years without ever cracking open the engine, without ever really making it good. We were just like, you know what? It works, and it works really well. Send it. And so we have sent it for 5 years. It was about time that something wore. The first thing to go really was the clutch. The clutch just would not do things. And then it started overheating. It was overheating. And I came in at its last race. We were just like, you know what? We got to tear this apart anyway. I really want to dig into the 944 and like see how it runs and get kind of a better understanding of, not just the crap around the engine or the crap on the outside of the engine. Cause we've done seals before. We've done belts.
Gotcha.
The belts are kind of one of those big scary things that it's an interference engine. So if a belt pops,
right. Yeah.
If the belt pops, you're boned. If the balance belt pops, it's right in front of the drive belt, and it might take the drive belt out with it. So you're boned. You really have to keep on the belt services really badly. So it's about time for new belts and rollers. It needs a new head gasket. Like the last stint of the last Lemons race, it did. It's just like, it's going to rev to nowhere, but
right.
It's still you want to just go out in the last stint. I had gotten it plated and street legal to do the Lemons Rally. And I guess it's kind of a good thing because like the first day of the Lemons Rally was an ice storm that nobody really saw coming.
Oh, and, wow.
I had brought winter stuff. I was going to rough it in, full winter clothing. If it got too cold, whatever, Texas is full of all kinds of stores where you could buy extra layers and stuff. But I had bought like snow pants and crap to do this kind of world tour of Texas Lemons Rally. So there was the MSR Houston race. And then from there, it went on this lap around Texas that ended back in Angleton in MSR Houston. So I got the car plated. I had blinkers. And so during my stints, because the car's clutch was going and we weren't able to really go fast. And we were just like, as long as the clutch was like sketchy, it was fine. But when it started overheating and kind of steaming out, it was worse. We brought it in for much longer. But so yeah, clutch goes. I was kind of running it by Nürburgring rules where I would signal to the direction of the track where I was going to stay, and I was waving people by. Because I have working blinkers. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And if things got really bad, I had flashers too, because it's street legal race car. It's so dumb. And so state of the PARSH, the very last stint, I saw so much. I didn't know if it was steam or smoke. So I came in to pit lane, this was a lap before they threw the checker. And there was all this crap coming out of the transmission tunnel everywhere. I was just like, oh my gosh, can you, I wave over the guy working pit lane. I was like, am I on fire?
Right. If you have to ask. Right.
Ask to go in the pits.
Right.
And so I roll into the pits and they're like, we didn't see your car, but why are you back? They just threw checker. Oh man. I could have finally had, because at that point we were all just like, screw it, the car's too broken to do anything with. And And I was really sad about it for like the next week. And then I was just like, maybe next month, maybe, I was really sad about it for a while.
Sure.
And, yeah, so
maybe that was the lap where you would have caught on fire though.
yeah, I'm not really mad at it. I think it's really funny that I just, it's one of those things, like, we weren't going to win anything. We weren't going to,
Right.
we were not in contention for anything at that point. It was just me hooning the car and like get as much out of this dumb car as possible, because there's no saving the engine. There's no nothing. Like, if it blows up, okay, cool, we buy another engine. If it breaks something big, cool, we fix it. You know, it's going to be out for a while after this.
Right.
Because we've already got a clutch and it's overheating. Like, send it. So, yeah, the team was like, because I had gotten very, well, you know, I've been without a full-time job for a while too. So that was also weighing on my mind of, you know, oh my God, I can't do, why now? And so that's where the car sits. Initially sitting because I've been out of a full-time job, and I'm trying to be really responsible financially, and, you know, if I get a little extra money, not blow it on the Porsche.
Right.
Which is killing me because the weather's been perfect. It's been beautiful. But also, this is the kind of borkage where I really want at least 3 grown-ups in the room.
Yeah.
And my Rona bubble is really just me and the guy who keeps his car at his house. So, you know, kind of inviting anybody outside that circle right now would be real bad.
Yeah.
Just for safety reasons. So it's going to sit.
Right.
I might just start kind of gradually getting little parts here and there, but I'm really trying to be careful for both of those reasons. People aren't exactly eager to hire in the middle of a pandemic.
Sure.
So I hate my life.
Well, I think that, like, we've touched on this a little bit before, but I think grief is a completely valid part of automotive ownership.
Yes.
Right?
It absolutely is.
Yeah. Just as much as it's a part of what we deal with outside of car culture and car ownership, like, grief absolutely is in it. I had a friend of mine that had a 1996 2-door Chevy Tahoe, and he had it restored, like, properly. He sunk tons of money into it. It was like Radwood. It would have run away with the show, right? It was perfect. And he rear-ended somebody in it like 3 or 4 months after he had gotten it back from all the work, right? And like, grief is such a thing that we have to deal with as well, like with these cars and with what we're going through with them. Like, I get it. Like, my Vigan is in a place now where, like, the timing chain tensioners are clicking like crazy, but like, there's nice days. I'm moving. I don't have time to take an engine out. I work in healthcare, so it's not like my day job is really letting up much. But still, I want to enjoy my Vigan a little bit every now and then. And, like, you know, driving around, I let Ian drive it for the first time recently, but it's like, you get that feeling you're on borrowed time, and you know, but yet you want to balance like something dumb, but still be responsible about it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, we get it for sure.
And it's like anything else that's worth caring about in life too, right? Like, if you didn't have those moments of grief, then you wouldn't appreciate the one lap you do get with your race Porsche, or when I had the Saab Turbo X, like, the one time I did take it to the mountains and it didn't overheat.
Yeah. I would rather not have as much grief, or at least have something to do in the downtime between grief.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that.
Sucks so much. Like, I have barely been on track. I did like 1 rallycross event. I didn't get to go to Sebring, which the original plan was March, Sebring, party. Yeah.
Sure.
Doing it as a fan, not gonna cover it, not gonna do anything, just gonna do nothing for a week because everything's been terrible. I need a break, and that didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the rescheduled Sebring wouldn't have been as fun either because we were gonna camp out in the infield like a bunch of hooligans. So that didn't happen. I didn't get to do any lemons races, no chump car, no nothing.
No karting even,
No, there's
Right?
just nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like sitting here, I didn't even do the Porsche's registration because I'm just like, well, then run. Like, I'm not going to pay registration on a car that doesn't run.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you still had it plated. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Well, so, worst case.
Yes, there you go. Right? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I might be pushing it. And what's funny is that's for a dealership that's like on my usual coffee run that has been through multiple other dealership names and types since then.
Ah.
So it's actually currently the Lambo dealer, but
Hilarious.
very much not a Lambo.
Yeah. I did see someone selling a Saab dealer sign, like the actual 20-foot wide, long. I know. I have no place to put it. Yeah. Yeah. It was on Craigslist for $200 or something. Yeah. I know.
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you. Every time people are like, buy this or
Right.
here's this, it gets so old. And I don't know how even people who have the money to just set on fire, I don't know how they stand it either. Cause I'm just like, if I'm actively looking for something, cool. If I'm not, I don't know. It's just kind of, buying cars is the least interesting thing to me about car culture. I just want
Okay.
if you find something weird, like here's a flat six swapped Zundap Janus, the little car, it's my favorite weird car because it has a front door and it has a back door.
Oh, I'm Googling that.
Two-headed, it's basically a two-headed Isetta with the engine in the middle. But I digress. It just
One of my favorite things on this show, I'm sorry, is watching Dave try to spell things. It's one of the best.
What is it?
No, it's a zoomed up Janus. Okay.
Oh, let me take a run at that. ZONDEPAINT. I'm from Missouri originally. You're witnessing the Missouri public school system by way of Google searching now.
No. There's an umlaut.
But where, Steph?
I'll tell you where the umlaut is because this is way too entertaining.
We all need this right now. We all need to watch me try to Google obscure names. Okay. All right. And how many letters do I have right? On starting from the front. Z. O. N. D.
4.
It's 16 letters.
There's 5 of the 16.
Okay.
And it's 2 words. Janus is obviously the model name.
Oh, okay. Janus.
Mm-hmm.
YANIS. YANNIS. Google, help me.
Oh man, you're too far for Google to help. It's amazing.
Yeah. Did you see the page a little bit ago where it had no results? There were no results. Yeah, there you go. Look, even Google was like, sorry. I speak all the language.
I found it.
Ian, can I phone a friend, Steph?
ZUND A. There you go.
There we go.
Oh.
Down there. There it is.
Oh, look at its little face.
Oh,
I'm a fan of that.
my favorite weird car.
Look at that. Look at its little seats lay down all the way.
Yeah, all the seats will fold flat if you
What?
for some reason just sleep in your Giannis.
Look at this dude.
Ah,
Does it come with this weirdo? Okay.
Does, yeah. If you sleep in your Giannis, he has to sleep with you.
oh, that's the one I got to drive at the lane.
Oh, no way. Okay. Wow.
Weird car. Oh my gosh. I need one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's two-stroke.
Top speed 50 miles an hour. 2-smoke engine. Nice.
Smoke engine.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, if you ever need a pick me up, just think about me trying to spell something like that, because Missouri doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah. I need like a Missouri extension, Chrome extension. Like, we're going to help you.
There are a lot of people who just spelling is hard and who are somehow professional writers. So you're fine. You're totally fine.
Yeah. If it wasn't for spell check, I would have failed my English comp classes in college because 7 spelling errors on a paper, automatic F.
Wow. That's hardcore.
Yeah. It was a very hardcore teacher. Yeah. But anyway.
That was in the days of like stone tablets.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. See, and spelling is one thing. Me trying to pronounce it, that's a whole nother thing. I don't think we have time to get into, Steph. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I'm going to
want to pronounce either.
I think we should close out with a round of FMK cars.
Okay. All right.
So I wrote this to kind of go along with our opposite lock discussion of like, the internet is changing. We didn't really get into it that much, but that's okay because the FMK cars will be self-explanatory. All right.
All right.
So
Down
this
to
one's
Oppo as well. Why not?
You get to watch me try to spell more cars, but hopefully my success rate will be higher on these.
Yes.
I think you'll be good. You'll be good to go.
Should this just be the podcast, Ian, as me trying to spell cars?
Yes.
Oh, that'd be a great idea.
Yeah. Do you want me to try to spell Horatio Pagani? Dave, it doesn't start with a C.
Right. Yeah. How many J's are we going to get? Okay. So this FMK cars is called "The Internet Has Been Dead for Years Now. Cars with a Content Twist." So you're going to get 3 cars. Each is going to have a way that you will remake the internet by taking receipt of this car. So when you get the car, the internet is changed. So
Yeah.
the first one is a Mitsubishi Mirage.
Okay.
The internet really is ephemeral. All content, video, copies, pictures disappears after 1 week.
Ew.
Okay. It's like the whole internet is bad Snapchat.
Like it's a
of cars.
mirage.
All
right,
very
so the
good,
next
Ian.
one- thank you. The next one is a Chevrolet Sonic.
Okay.
All internet articles are now podcasts. There is no written words at all on the internet. You have to listen only. It's basically a giant radio station.
Okay.
All right.
I still have the Gulf of Barth tab open if we need it. Just want to make that known.
Oh no. Yeah.
Okay.
The last one is Honda Fit.
Oh boy.
All sites have paywalls, but you don't pay with money, you pay with calories. So you have to do like a workout to unlock the article.
I gotta hit crunches if I want to read something about some tomfoolery on the Daily Beast, Ian.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, gotta do like squats. Like I really want to read this recipe.
Yeah.
No.
I swear to God, if there's a story at the top of this recipe, I'm gonna be really pissed about all these squats I'm doing.
Stories and recipes. No.
Right.
Kill is obviously Mirage.
Okay.
Kill is absolutely Mirage.
We can't get back to having to know a guy in order to find out the thing. That's what the internet gave us. We don't have to know a guy anymore. The internet's our guy, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah, and the internet really never forgets. If you screw up, if you screw people over, if you are a bad person, or even if you just made a mistake, the internet
Nope.
doesn't forgive. Well, they do forgive. They are more forgiving than I think a lot of people give the internet credit for. As a general rule, obviously not everybody. There's some people that hold grudges forever, but yeah, I think most reasonable people realize that whoever they're reading or listening to or whatever, they're human.
Right.
And, people grow and whatever. But the internet doesn't forget. So if you decide to engage in the same tomfoolery that, got you in trouble for years and years ago, I want to be able to look up that tomfoolery. So, Mirage, I'm sorry, you have to die.
Okay.
Let's see, it's between Sonic and
Fit.
Yep.
I
Didn't
think, yeah.
we see if I could fit in the backseat of a Sonic, Ian? Does it, Dave?
It did not.
Yeah.
It did not, Dave.
Yeah.
It did not. I don't think you fit behind me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I would have to just F the Sonic. Just F it.
Okay.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
What
Time for crunches.
what internet kind of outlet or what thing would you like to hear as a podcast? Like that isn't. Well, I mean, there's a podcast for everything. We have a goddamn podcast, so
I'm on a podcast.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Right.
Exactly. The VW Vortex forums as a podcast, or the Toyota, as we found out, Ian found out a while ago that the Toyota Prius forums are like the nicest place on the internet. Everybody's like super nice. The Prius forums as a podcast would be pretty soothing, right?
Yeah.
It would be. Everyone just being generally helpful and kind.
My Club Lexus forums would not be so good as a podcast. Yeah. How do you podcast about golf shirts? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, the Samba hates the 411. When I tried to go on and like, hey, limited time, limited budget, everybody was like jumping down my throats for like, why is this a race car?
See, right.
And, also, well, if you get a cheap fix, then it's just going to blow up and it's going to blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, do you I can link you to the series where this car is from. I can show you the rusted out floorboards that have been repaired with sheet metal or the stripped out interior, or this was not a restoration candidate. And yet I'm just like, ugh.
Right.
So the new plan is learn an entire different language to find decent 411 forums because they all seem to be German.
Okay. You're like, I need to know more about my car. Let me fire up Babbel.
Done.
Yeah.
What would be a Japanese nostalgic car? I feel like I would listen to that as a podcast.
Okay. I'm not familiar with this.
Interesting. It's just Japanese nostalgic car. They go into interesting old JDM stuff, and it's a delight.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A genuine delight.
Google autofilled nostalgic before I took a stab at it. So
And they have these, obviously it would need to be a podcast on like YouTube where we could see the pictures.
right. Yeah. My sister had an Isuzu Rodeo. Look at that. Huh. Okay. All right. Nice. Right on. And then marry the Honda Fit.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll all get swole, bro.
Well,
Yep. Get them gains. So I can get my daily Sudoku puzzle. Yeah.
lumps.
Yep.
And now you won.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Have you had to have a puffalump repaired? Are you familiar with the Netflix series Repair Shop?
Wait, what?
Oh,
I'm not familiar with the series, and I have had to have puffalumps repaired.
okay.
So, well, Theo, and I bought the lace that goes on this collar. His lace kind of started falling apart.
Sure.
And he has a little. I don't know if this is viewable in my.
Oh yeah, yeah. I see the tear. Yeah.
It wasn't a tear yet, but it was kind of pulling at the little joint. So, yeah, he's had some repairs. My first puffalump Coco is extensively repaired.
Okay.
Yeah, there is so much puff. So much puff that has been repaired. What is this? Is it about like stuffed animal repairs?
They do stuffed animal repair on it, but they repair a whole bunch of stuff. It's just a very nice British show, like a palate cleanser, where people just bring in things and these experts fix them. Yeah, so like old clocks or old furniture or stuffed animals, and it's really sweet. And I want to figure out how to try to push my entire Saab vegan into their shed. So just be like, fix it. Yeah. Yeah. We could fill it with puffalumps and just be like, can we get like a discount? Right. Yeah. It's package deal. Yeah. So, okay. Nice. Well, right on. If you had to say one of your puffalumps was in the status of your 944, like, do you have any puffalumps that are in that kind of state of despair, or like, are you, because a little tear on Theo, okay, like, yeah.
Fluffy's got a few holes, kind of her ears and kind of at the joints. Her eyes really need kind of a re-embroidery for there's these little white spots.
Oh yeah.
On the puffalump eyes.
Yeah.
She needs recovering on her nose. She's like the bones of the Fluffy, the structure, the main Fluffy, still there. Her belly could use a restuff because it's been very hugged.
I just can't get over the look of Theo, like that, like just the look on his face, like when you just had him on the camera just a second ago,
really, it's appropriate for our show because he has a disapproving look, and that's earned, I think, for the two of us.
Yeah. I don't know. It makes me think of just how my father would look at me when I tried to play basketball. Like, I don't know what I'm doing out there. Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I would say Fluffy because Coco is the one who needs repair the most. My first puffalump, my Coco bunny.
Yeah.
But Theo is a bit too nice. I think the 944 is Fluffy Bunny Eater of Souls, which is appropriate because there's a giant decal of Fluffy Bunny Eater of Souls on the roof hanging on for dear life. So
I dig that. If there was a wish that I had for the world, it would be that you could afford any puffalump repair you wanted by way of continuing to write the awesome articles that you do. Aww. Because we're both really thankful for what you've put out there. It's fantastic, and it is sad to see kind of the opposite lock stuff like that piece kind of go away because it was an important outlet.
Well, so the important thing about Oppo is there are a bunch of people hoping to keep that community together. We've had several different landing spots pop up immediately. There's a long-running Drive Tribe. There's a long-running group. Somebody cooked up a forum like immediately, like, hey, we can hang out here. There's a Discord that's been around for a while. I think it helped that this is the second time that it was threatened, and this time they went through with it. That part didn't help because a lot of us are really angry. It took some of my first well-publicized articles on cars that I'd done, anything that got shared to the Jalopnik main page, anything that, I would frequently hat tip Oppo as the source of like, this is where I noticed it. It's you guys. It's fair to give you credit for finding it first.
Sure.
Or sometimes use them as a source if they wrote about their personal experience with something or had new information. And it was a place where, and people took it a lot more seriously because it was in blog format. I mean,
Right.
no, it's not one of the major auto sites, but it did have a connection to Jalopnik. The moderator staff there was very good about keeping kind of an open relationship with the Jalopnik people, kind of working with them over the years. And so Jalopnik themselves has been really helpful in kind of trying to migrate us somewhere else.
Okay.
So eventually it'll probably be oppositelock.com, which, currently that domain links out to the different kind of landing pads that people have gone to. But eventually we'd like to say like, hey, we figured something out. And whatever that solution will be probably landing at that domain. We're hoping to have some kind of, keep up the relationship with Jalopnik. That's where it came from.
Right.
Those guys are also really sad to see it go. They just hired a couple writers who were regulars in Oppo as well, after hiring many others like me over the years. And so the community is still there. It's kind of split into various holes right now.
Sure.
Open invite to troll my comments on the drive as well, or anywhere else that wants to publish me.
Right. Right.
Open invite. Just have at it. But as far as it started off as Jalopnik's off-topic community. And, I've stayed active there, posting puffalumps with threatening auras and whatever, because, it's no longer like it's a community. These are people I keep up with. These are friendships that I've made, even off of the boards. People have talked about, getting into everything from like getting into motorsports to, hey, my car broke down in Maine and, out of the blue.
Right.
Another Oppo is like, hey, I've got this apartment I've been using.
Right. Right.
I've done lemons rallies with people I met off of Oppo. And it's just such an integral part of the car internet that we really want to give a space for people to write and create and keep up with each other. And I've been describing it as the id of the car internet because it really is. Like, you would have beautiful blog about somebody's upgrades and repairs followed by, technical term, shitpost.
Right. But that's best served by not separating those things,
Exactly. And it was just this beautiful stream of consciousness that I'm hoping whatever comes next emulates that and, keeps the whatever. So many of us were former posters or, people who would pop in and check on folks. And it is, I talk about mourning, realizing that there was no talking these idiots out of it this time.
Right. Right.
Because last time at about the same time this year, and I think that's what made kind of dealing with this a little easier is a bunch of people had set up other places to go. That's kind of when the Drive Tribe group got really big. A lot of people were just like, done.
Right.
I had already offloaded all of my professional work in case whatever they did, all my entire body of work on Jalopnik. So I'm, which is hilarious because special projects desk for network wide on the kind of hired writer side, things that were deep dive, intense research, etc. What was specialprojects.kinja.com? That got nuked in this stupid thing.
Oh, wow.
Kinja's changelog got nuked because it was changelog.kinja.com. Anything with a .kinja.com.
Oh, man.
The kind of test bed, I think, blog also got nuked. And it's just this idiotic, spiteful, I can't find a logical reason for it.
Right.
Because last year at about this time, they were like, we're going to delete user blogs, these are going away soon, blah, blah, blah. And poor Patrick navigated this. And somehow it's like, it's painful to watch because, okay, so I'm still kind of in this process of mourning because it's like people are rushing to put the archives up as well. And there's somebody bought the domain jimasaherb.com, which
freaking Herb.
It's from this older Burger King commercial, I think is where it is. But a herb is like an inherently uncool doofus or something like that. It's not a flattering term. And so around this year, time last year, there was what was immediately after everybody left Deadspin, because they were trying to do something that wouldn't work. And it panned out that whatever they wanted to do hasn't worked. Right. And, they're just a bunch of idiots and cowards and control freaks. But
anybody that kills food spin articles.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That was like one of the best things on the internet.
Or Bear Friday. Or, they took an issue with, I think, the Wildwood t-shirt review of the year that was always so funny. Just the dumbest things that they had an issue with. And so the staff mass quit and Deadspin's dead. Like, I'm sorry, that hobby site in its place is garbage and none of their writers can write. So, or edit, which is terrifying. I won't miss having to look at their headlines in the sidebar.
Yeah.
Right.
But after that, somebody did a user blog that was Jim Spanfeller is a herb. And they, pictures of herbs, spaced out with Jim Spanfeller, the CEO of Jalopnik's network, Jalopnik, Deadspin, Decibel, Gizmodo,
right,
etc. That network after, so I left because I didn't trust Univision to sell the network to anyone worth a crap. Unfortunately, those expectations were spot on. I can't even talk because it's just so absurd. And then, Jim Spanfeller, CEO, incompetent as hell. I don't know how he poops in the toilet, buys his own shoes, puts his own pants. I do not understand how this man is capable of anything because absolutely every decision he has made about that site network has been straight up garbage. And
then just like doubling down on those bad decisions too. Like when it's pointed out in pretty, plain terms that he's made a mistake, and then just doubling down on that same attitude is
to the point where an entire site staff leaves.
Right.
So
yeah,
he was so angry about this Jim is a herb thing that originally they tried to hide it by scrambling the address. That didn't work. And then they deleted it, which deleting anything off that network is kind of a cardinal sin to a lot of the people who've been around for so long.
Sure.
Because transparency has always been a virtue there. And it's one of the things that really sets Jalopnik apart from a lot of other outlets that, you know, might ninja edit something and not own up to, oh, we made a mistake. We did that. And it's something that has been awesome to see Jalopnik alumni take to other outlets. Because I don't feel right editing something without being completely upfront about it.
Sure.
You know, I think readers should know, hey, we made a mistake.
Yeah.
And so deleting something, nuking it off the internet, even a user blog,
Right.
is yikes. And so, of course, somebody immediately signs up. Jim Spanfeller is a herb.com with this post in a, you know, completely different post. Can't delete it.
I'm surprised you didn't buy that domain, Ian. Ian buys domains like that.
I do.
Yeah.
I'll buy a spite domain.
I love that. Please keep doing that.
But like, oh, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So after this was the context of the first Oppo apocalypse. So I rushed to download all of my work because I'm like, if you delete a user blog, you're gonna nuke so many things across this network that it's all connected.
Right.
Even after they shut down, kind of, you couldn't access any of the blogs on Oppo anymore, I was able to comment on things, and people were getting the notifications about my comments that were going through after Oppo was shut down, because the comment section is all interconnected. Like, how are you going to delete something that is so integrated?
Right.
It really makes my brain hurt, and it is entirely done out of spite. But go on.
No, it's not just people talking about cars. Like, there's so much more to it where, like, I can honestly, when you rattled through like some of the Gawker Media stuff, I can think of an article on Jezebel that changed my life. Right? Like, for real, like, it changed my life. Like, and it wasn't even like necessarily like the comments or anything, but it was one post about like disengaging from toxic family members and stuff like that. And it seriously changed my life. Right. And a very close friend of mine, like, it changed his life. Like, and so like having an outlet for these kinds of things, like, they may be car related, they may be stream of consciousness, the next thing that somebody's thinking of, like, it's representative of everything that we're dealing with as humans, right? And so you can't just delete a portion of it. Like, you can't like keep politics out of cars, or, you know, like any of that stuff. Like, you can't draw fences around this. So like anything that takes any portion of it down is so destructive, you know? And yeah. But I think that one thing that I keep going back to is that these are people that have the desire to create, right? Mm-hmm. And somebody else is going to put up a forum or put up a venue for this creative stuff to have receivership, right? You know? Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are saying, well, and it's really sad because clearly this was not Jalopnik's choice.
Right.
They've been trying to help the old mod staff land on our feet, keep that discussion open, keep in touch, make sure we've had access to set up an archive somewhere, to put everything, to keep the community together, because they saw value in it. And obviously they were, you know. There you go. That is the man responsible for this garbage.
Thank you for spelling it for me, Ian.
Yeah. No problem. I got it.
And it's so frustrating because, you know, and they realize that, I mean, I even saw it breaks my heart because the people at Jalopnik itself deserve better.
Right.
You have this community of a lot of your biggest regulars, and the people owning the site network decide to go through this anyway with this bullcrap excuse of, well, we're worried about potential changes in copyright law or some kind of thing on usage of assets. And the little note that they said before they turned off access to all user blogs, it didn't make sense. Why would you preemptively nuke something when it might not happen? And a lot of people kind of were like, well, we think this might be section 230. And I'm like, is that really gonna happen? Do we even know if that's going to happen now? Because, we've got a different administration coming in. You've got tech companies who are going to lobby like hell against any changes that might make them liable for what some Yahoo
right
post maliciously, and that you have, and obviously there's this disconnect with like, well, they've told the sites that they're not going to nuke comments on the non-Deadspin properties. We've all seen how Deadspin is doing without a comment section too. So
right.
Yeah, that would be extra painful. Because one of the things I think that I realized when I was at Jalopnik, and I think a lot of the other people who are still there do, is that it's not just the blogs. It is a community around the blog.
Yeah, absolutely. Engagement around all of these things, right? The community that's built. Yeah.
Best comment sections on the internet, because you have people who are smart and reasonable and whatever chiming in. Yeah, there are trolls like anywhere else. But
Right.
They're generally the cream floats to the top.
Right.
Or the worst float to the top, and we all take turns roasting them.
Right. Just as it should be. Right?
More often than not, you had these very smart people. I was actually intimidated from ever chiming in on a Jalopnik article for years because the comment section was too witty and too smart, and I felt too stupid to even engage.
Totally get that.
So, yeah, if you give that community one less place to go and hang out and, keep talking with each other outside of whatever, it's going to hurt. And, already I'm seeing people say, I'm never going back to any Kinja site again. Screw these guys. They screwed us over. They hate us. They don't want us around. That's probably true at the CEO level. Hello, Jim Spanfeller. Eat crap. But at the individual site level, it could be farther from the truth.
Yeah.
And it hurts because I hate that these poor decisions are affecting them. They deserve better, and they deserve not to have to deal with users who are angry about a user forum that should not be deleted.
Right.
Having all of their work surprise nuked off the internet. They were actually instrumental in giving us a heads up. Because originally, as I understand it, originally it was going to be like, nope, these are done. They really insisted on giving the community a heads up to copy our content and save it. And yeah, unfortunately, you've got till the end of November. And then, so if you have anything on Kinja, please. Oh my gosh.
Ian, we have our 24 hours of lemons up there.
Oh, we do. I think I pulled that off, but I need to check.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah.
If you go to your individual user page, like, apexadjacent.kinja.com.
Right.
There should be an Atom feed link.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I haven't been as up with the archive efforts because there was a script going around last year that I was able to PDF all of my articles off.
Nice.
but there should be an Atom. It's like an RSS feed, but some other
Yeah.
for it. And there should be a way to transfer your Kinja posts to a different outlet if you want. Or
I think that all of this is just hitting at such a bad time too, right? Like we're all dealing with pandemic. Like car culture is in a really tough place. And if
I
you
get within 6 feet of Jim Spanfeller to kick him in the balls, I will have to find an exceptionally large 8%. Well, and I can't even travel to a state because I'm sure I'd be quarantined.
Right.
So
Yeah.
somebody in New York is going to have to find a 6-foot pipe and kneecap the guy for it. With love from Opposite Lock.
Yeah.
No, at all from Opposite Lock.
You know, car culture is not without its problems, right? And when we lose something that allows people to kind of self-police and to kind of work against like the inherent like misogyny, racism, like all this kind of stuff that is so prevalent in culture and car culture, right? Like to give people like a platform to police and to fight against that, right? And to produce positive content, right? Like it hits hard, man. It's tough. Like,
I was in like the entire week afterwards. It was like losing
yeah.
Because, and you know, in this case, we know killed them.
Right.
But never forget Jim Spanfeller is a herb.
You know what? I'm having a problem even looking at his dumb, privileged face. I'm just going to because you didn't need to tell me he was a white male that failed upwards. Go figure. Huh.
Yeah, go figure.
Right? Yeah, so I'm just going to open this image of herbs in another tab, and we're just going to look at that, right, for the rest of the show. Right? We're going to kick back and forth between the Gulf of Barth, right, and the herbs, right? Because I can't even look at his dumb face, right?
It's just exceedingly dumb. I don't think there's a brain cell that works correctly in there. It's so bad. Every single thing that he's done and the way that he's treated a lot of my former coworkers. And it's just, you know, I thought Univision treated us poorly and I had no idea apparently. But everybody should, I mean, if you want to get an idea of what Oppo was/is, we're still around. We're just kind of
right
all over the place.
Scattered.
Yeah. For the time being. Yeah.
For the time being. We're hoping, we're working. We've been talking back and forth with the Jalopnik folks a lot. Well, more so the people who are kind of leading that. I kind of have to take a step back since I work with other outlets. But a lot of the people who are others on the mod staff have been very good about keeping in touch and trying to figure out what's next in a way that kind of would bring everybody back together and keep that tie to the original website. And if you weren't active and want to figure out kind of how important Oppo was, definitely look up. There was a post that the Jalopnik staff did, kind of a one last roast on their end on jalopnik.com, not on Oppo. You couldn't get there now. I'm just chuckling because the whole situation is so absurd. And
right. Surreal, right? Yeah.
So stupid.
Here, Gulf of Barth.
And but look up Jalopnik's eulogy for Oppo.
Yeah.
It's Oppo is dead. Long live Oppo.
Yeah, and Miss Mercedes' chunk of it is, you know, she talks about them realizing she's trans, and a lot of the car spaces just would not accept that. And it's Opposite Lock who was like going to bat for her. And that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
This was a space on the internet where you could be yourself.
Yeah.
And the one rule was be excellent to each other. And that's something that is so integral to that culture. or, you know, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're like us or completely different or whatever, or, you know, kind of a totally different person than your usual so-called car guy.
Right.
You have a home here, and you will
Right.
be, you know, so long as you're excellent to the other.
Right. As diverse as culture is, so is car culture, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the best. And I never admit to crying in public, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Go puffalump.
Yeah, go puffalump. Yeah.
Go puffalump.
No, I think that one thing that I like, if I'm just trying to think of like a something that kind of gives me hope, is that when we're dealing with this population, this demographic of the folks that kind of make up this stuff, I don't think that we're dealing with normal people. I think we're dealing with exceptional people that are crazy passionate about what they're doing, right? And whenever you have people that are that passionate about like what they're doing or what they want to say, they're going to find an outlet, right? They're going to find an outlet. Somebody's going to give that to them, or they're going to make it themselves, right? Like reasonable people do not buy, you know, Volkswagen 411s, right? They don't. Sorry, they don't.
No.
Reasonable people don't have a Volkswagen R32 or a Saab Viggen, right?
Right. Well, I think the other part of that too is that, you know, what the herbs of the world don't understand is that when you have people that are that, yes,
I'm a good producer.
Passionate people to be behind you and to support you and to go to bat for you, and to see everybody from Oppo. Not everybody. There's a chunk of Oppos who understand, like, hey, this was not Jalopnik's decision. But to see other people who, you know, usually pretty reasonable folks saying, screw you, I'm done, you did us dirty. It hurts. It really hurts. Because, you know, Oppo was the first place where I started writing about cars. Jalopnik is the first place that said, hey, let's hire the city from Oppo because we need somebody in Austin.
Right.
So yeah, continue. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that, you know, when you do have people that are that passionate, like Dave was saying, that are, you know, idiots, but gifted idiots, like, you know, they're not going to be only interesting in one tiny lane, right? They're going to be interesting.
There you go.
In their whole lives and and they're going to see the connections between the thing that they're passionate about and everything else around them. Yeah. And when you squash that, it makes the thing that they're passionate about less interesting too, right? So that's why Deadspin is failing now, because they're confined to a lane, and a lane is boring.
Right.
Well, they tried doing a political post a while ago, and I only know this because some people screenshotted it and were like passing it around as like, so stick to sports, huh?
Right.
You know, just pointing out the inherent hypocrisy. I mean, I don't think it was ever about stick to sports. I think it was about they didn't want anybody from the old guard around. They didn't want anybody who would question what they were doing. Any of the kind of clickbaity, you know, stupid, tons of ads, bad decisions that they've had kind of with the network's direction. They didn't want anybody who would cry too much in opposition. I feel like I had the biggest sigh of relief when Rory landed as Jalopnik's new editor, because, you know, they're doing some things people complain about, like the slideshows. I admit I don't have patience for slideshows either, but they at least have somebody with a level head on their shoulders who's not just going to be a yes man. And I've worked with Rory at other outlets, and, you know, he's a great editor. But yeah, they really feel threatened by this old guard, it seems like. And to the point where, you know, here's a very strong, very, you know, we're going to do our thing because we know we're the people who've been paying attention to it, paying attention to what works, been looking at kind of this bigger picture. And it's like, yeah, our non-sports posts are doing better than our
Right.
People know us as a sports and culture site. And so it's been really just painful to watch that one in particular, because
Sure.
everything they could do to just, I mean, you could just have let everybody run on autopilot from kind of the old site network, because it always made money. Univision saddled a bunch of its debt from other things that they did onto our site group.
Yeah.
And so people are like, well, we had all this debt. No, not really. It had a bunch of debt that was kind of foisted upon us as opposed to our own doing. And so they could have just set it on autopilot.
Right.
Instead, for whatever reason, you get Jimmy Spanfeller, this, as you see pictured on the screen, brought him in from Forbes.com, which, is a train wreck if you look at it today.
Hey.
Throw a bunch of 1998 ideas about, well, we need display ads.
Right.
Autoplay video ads with sound, so we can meet our ad impression targets that are impossible otherwise. And it just makes my brain hurt, because it's not just my early content, it's everybody I care about.
Right. A family. Yeah. I think it's like it is somebody who says like you're saying, like, stick to a lane, right? Like, that person has been a commenter in the past. Now this person is like the owner of the company, right?
They want to see only what they
Right. And since when has it ever worked well to tell creative people to stick to, this, right? Like, that's not constraint that makes people better. Like, say, like when Twitter was 140 characters, right? Like, if you could write a joke in 140 characters, that's a good joke, right? Like, it's not creativity by way of constraint. It is constraint that is impacting creativity and driving people away, right? It's segmenting aspects of the culture that can never be separated, right? Yeah. And so I need to take myself back to the Gulf of Barth for a minute.
Well, it's this, and we've seen this with other aspects of the United States recently.
Right.
It's a refusal to realize that there are smarter people in the room.
Right.
And paying more attention, who have looked closely at things for years and years and years, and this butt-headed kind of, well, no, this is how I understand it. We're going to do things my way.
Right.
And
willful ignorance. Yeah.
You can't do that.
Right.
It's at that point, it's not just like Hanlon's razor where, you can just kind of write off, where it's not necessarily malice, things that are attributed to malice are sometimes just ignorance. It's at that point, the ignorance becomes the malice,
Right.
The ignorance, the combination of ignorance and stubbornness and refusal to kind of listen to people who have been paying attention to this for years and years and years. And they would have told you, hey, Oppo is a bunch of very harsh critics, but they're more fair than, maybe we always give them credit for. And Opposite Lock did its own roast of itself. And we brought in a few other people who, folks like Patrick and Patrick George and several others to just do your worst. And, Patrick's part, it's on one of the forums, opposite-lock.com, that had sprung up kind of in the wake of this. It might have been cross-posted to Drive Tribe too, but You know, the title of the post was "Eat Shit, Oppo," in true Kinjaverse form.
Right.
I feel like I matched the 944 now. Like, oh man. And it, you know, a few of the people who worked kind of on the professional side of things was like, you know, Oppo would always come to us with technical problems, or, you know, criticize our authors, or what have you. And but they were fair. They were harsh. You know, I think, I want to say it was Pat. Don't quote me on this. Don't tell Patrick I'm quote him, please.
No one listens to us, Steph. It's fine.
No.
It was Patrick.
Yeah.
It was Theo Bunny. It was Theo Bunny who says,
Yeah.
More often than not, maybe opposite lock was more right about things. So we gave them credit for, you know, or more on the money, more on the nose. But yeah, you get this nice unfiltered criticism of everything that happens on the internet. And yeah, I stand by that. 8 of the automotive internet.
Yeah.
You know, you go from somebody's detailed, my car's broken down, whatever, to, you know, here's what I made for dinner today, to
Right.
here's some relationship problems I'm having. I need
Right.
help.
Right.
And the last one in particular was like, you could post there about personal issues. You could post there, and I won't say there would be no judgment. There's always going to be that guy, but it would be a less judgmental space than a lot of the car forums
Right.
out there. People would be fair. People might be a little harsh, but they would be fair. And I think that's
No, like,
It's a rare thing. That's not faint praise on the internet. Like,
yeah, no, that's what a lot of people need.
a long running thing in our on our show is talking about how shitty people on car forums can be, and you know that was why.
often.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Maybe I should be on here more often.
Well, no, that was the story. The story around from the Prius thing was it also intersects with another like piece of anxiety that I think car people have, which is like, how do you tell a non-car person like, hey, this is broken, you need to fix this?
Right.
I was in the back of a Prius Uber on the way home from the airport, and there was very clearly a really bad
Wheel bearing. Yeah.
that was happening, and so like I'm like trying to figure out like, do I say something to this person who's like, you know, probably doesn't need to hear it from me, but also like relies on this for their well-being, for their, you know, for their livelihood. So I was like trying to have like a weird, you know, kind of like moral argument with myself in the back, and I was like, I wonder how much it costs to replace a wheel bearing on a Prius. And so I ended up on a Prius forum, and I got totally distracted from my conversation I was having with myself, because I was like looking through posts, and people, it was the craziest thing. You're not going to believe it. People would ask questions, and then other people would answer those questions. And that was it. That was all that.
Not have you tried the search function?
Right.
Oh gosh. I feel like I've come across that on some of the like non-enthusiast car forums.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like a question about like mom's van or something. And, you know, I'll find a post about it, and it's civil.
Yeah.
Right.
It's as
Right.
if people are looking for information on the internet, and people are actually giving it to them. It's this novel idea.
I know.
Right.
At car forums for so long. I don't know. I did used to moderate a Lancer forum, and long ago, and you know, I did try to keep the on-topic sections kind of pruned of like butt heads. You know,
Sure.
But did you use the search function? Is a common.
Right.
Mhm.
But like sometimes the best parts of a forum are the off-topic things, right? And not and still having those things, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful that Opposite Lock gave you a voice, or that you found your voice through there, that it was a platform in which more people could see what you've done and get exposure to your creative vision and your cars, all that stuff. So I'm thankful for that. And I know that going forward, you're going to continue doing that in whatever forum that you're in. And I'm looking forward to that. We're looking forward to that. You know?
I'm kind of, on one hand, yeah, this has been a month of mourning. I mean, the Oppo that we've all posted to is off the internet. I spent, in that week and a half from, we're shutting this down to, glad to say Barth is here. We're shutting this down to this. I even downloaded, like, the Internet Archive has a extension where you can just click the little button on your browser and, hit save for later, or
Gotcha.
archive or something to that effect. And I must have opened up a bajillion tabs. I think I might even have the last comment where I was like, I know I'm posting into the void at this point, because if I reload this page, it's not going to be here. But, I left some messages that were like, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sticking around. See you around. Here's kind of our roundup of places people are landing for now. We're rushing to build something. It was amazing to see how that community rushed together to figure out where to go.
Right.
To reach out to everybody. I even reached out to the ClickHole guys because they had a successful migration off of Kinja onto a WordPress base. I think it was a WordPress.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Format. I know we've been going back and forth with the Jalopnik folks, and I know the export that they've tried has been the Kinja feed directly into a WordPress install. So we'll see where this goes.
Right. But you're dealing with driven people, right? Yeah, like the fact that you reached out to ClickHole staff, like somebody on like a video game forum doesn't do that. They're like, oh, like I got it. Right. Right. Like
going away. But people put so much effort into their posts.
Yeah.
And the ones that were great they'd go around. They would they would get attention. You have numerous automotive journalists who started posting on freaking Oppo.
Right. And it's one thing when something goes away, right? But it's another thing when it feels like it's taken, right?
Yeah.
The things that I've lost are not as bad as the things that I've stolen or have had stolen, right? So I would have to find a 6-foot pipe. We can't talk about physical harm.
Just look at the Gulf of Barth, Steph. It's okay.
I'm not threatening physical harm. Obviously, I don't want to go to jail.
No.
I'm not threatening physical harm. I'm just openly fantasizing about it.
Right. Just want to make that clear. Because we're not a very successful podcast. We don't want to get notoriety because
no. Well, that solves violence solves nothing.
Right. True.
Revenge, on the other hand.
Right. So
our best revenge is going to be to land somewhere else.
Yes.
Or at least under more sane ownership.
Right.
A lot of people have said this is the best thing that's ever happened to DriveTribe.
Yeah. I thought that earlier today. When I was Googling and doing some research, right? Yeah. I ended up on a DriveTribe page and I was like, oh my God, this is still around. Yeah.
Well, and those guys are awesome. They're very happy to see us over there. And I've freelanced for them before. I've got them an article on my 944. Okay. I have defiled another website with my 944. And Yeah, those editors are super nice. They were very happy to accommodate. Live and Let Diecast, after the last big Oppo disappearing threat in 2019, basically moved over there. So
Yeah.
We're hoping that we can land either somewhere independent or somewhere with more stable ownership.
Right.
But kind of, no offense, I feel like there's always going to be a home for Opposite Lock on other hosted platforms, but
Right.
it does seem like a significant number of users are like, we need to be independent. We need to
Right.
because we've been burned too much.
Right. Sure. But the good thing is that there's people behind it. It wasn't say some kind of infrastructure that made people flock to it. It was people flocking to it because of the people. Right. So I
have been impressed by the number of people working on an archive as well. The Discord has been amazing to see the people just kind of organize around projects like JimIsAHerb.com.
Never underestimate a nerd with free time.
Yeah.
Ever. Right?
And
that's the
especially
thing.
a nerd with free time with a chip on his shoulder.
See? There you go.
We have to put all of our ending posts that are just roasting
Yeah.
back onto the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But we really appreciate you talking to us, because this podcast is not just about cars. As you can tell, it's also therapy session, right? Like,
it kind of has been today.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to PayPal a copay, like, this one's on us. This one's on us. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, but we really appreciate you coming on to talk to us about this and about everything else. Like, it's cathartic in a time when people need catharsis, right? Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And anytime. Obviously.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's a great way to shout at, I'm going to say, like, a low dozens number of people. We'll hear this and that'll be it. Yeah.
There's more people that listen to this. Well, you guys were on Oppo, right? Or
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And
know you either through Oppo or through Lemon stuff, and those circles are at least a lumpy Venn diagram.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. No, we were on Oppo. I wasn't super active. I was somewhat of a lurker.
Same.
On Oppo, but I would post every once in a while, and every once in a while stuff would kind of like take off on there actually, and so that was great. But I had a lot of fun commenting and doing all that. But we tried to do the Drive Tribe thing too, and like kind of gave up on that. But if everyone from Oppo is moving over there, I think we might give it another shot.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't decided on kind of where that final rallying point is going to be. We're gonna see where things kind of go from here, because it does seem like there's a chunk that's gravitated towards Drive Tribe. There's a chunk that's gravitated towards this forum. Some are just like, I like the Discord. And I feel like a lot of these things are going to stick around because, Drive Tribe and Discord and Facebook, they're all their own platforms.
Right.
Those have always existed alongside the main Oppo blog anyway. So we'll see what happens. Pay attention to that oppositelock.com is probably where we're going to say, hey, all right, us old farts.
Yeah.
we have figured out what the voices in our head are the voices of the community in our head. And
absolutely, like when that kind of establishment is formed, like, we would love to have you back on to talk about it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I'm still going to be around there. Like, it's jalopnik, but you're going to have to pry my ability
Mhm.
to talk nonsense with other people from that community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. We've been doing a podcast 5 years and we're not stopping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Oppo is where I banned Ian from Untitled Car Show from Cars. He's banned from Cars.
Ian's banned from something? I didn't know this.
He's banned from Cars. He's not banned from Oppo. He's
Ike.
from
Ike.
Ike. Sorry, Ike.
Yes. Yes.
I got thrown off by Ian in the quarter, and I also haven't had human contact for all of this year with car people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Car people out of state. Let me haven't had human contact with car people out of state.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Ike is banned from Cars. He's more than welcome to post on any of the opposite lock landing pads. But no, he chopped up a 924 that was in bad shape that he got for free or something.
Right.
That sounds very Ike move. Yeah.
I personally banned him from Cars.
That's appropriate, but Ike found another forum and now he posts his Fiero on YouTube all the time. So,
Yeah.
So,
Still banned from Cars.
yeah. Yep. I love it.
Banned from Cars. Sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry I got your name wrong too. See Ian in the bottom of the
Well, I urgently need to go to the restroom.
Okay.
And we've had an awesome time talking to you tonight, Steph. Like, really, we can't thank you enough for your time. Yeah.
And really, anytime we can do this again, or we don't even have to record it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Talking about 6 foot long pipes.
We clearly don't listen to this show regularly because we do that sort of stuff pretty much all the time.
It is welcome here.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Silence loves nothing. Please do as I do, not as I say.
There we go.
I like it.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Steph. And thank you, everyone else who hung out with us for all this time. We love you. Goodbye.
That's right.